This here is from Inside Charity, obviously not a famous publication. I've never heard of them, but also it's from January 4th, 2024. It's pretty new. It's called Amber Heard's Pledge Donations. Did the ACLU and LA Children's Hospital get duped? Now, it's a bit complicated. This is not a two-page quick article. One thing the writer says is that there could have been more responsibility from the charity to try to get the money from her after she pledged. That's not a main point, but an interesting thing I never thought of. Secondly, this person who obviously has experience in the industry or the field, whatever you call it, is saying indeed that this money was never donated, or I should say, she's confirming that. Let's see what we got. She starts by saying that unless you've been living under a rock, you've heard about this case somehow, somewhere. She mentions one of the most heated moments of the trial was when Camille Vasquez cross-examined Amber and asked her some questions about this. And she quotes Camille, "Sitting here today, Miss Heard, you still haven't donated the $7 million divorce settlement. Donated, not pledged, donated to charity, isn't that right?" To which the response was, "I use pledge and donate synonymous with one another." The article then goes on to, in detail, explain how pledge and donate are different. It's really good wording. It's kind of funny. We pretty much know, though, donating means you've handed over the money. Pledged means you've promised to. But she says it nicer than that. She then quotes something a juror said after the fact. She goes on a talk show in the UK. The video shows her sitting there telling the host she gave all the money away, and the terms she used in that video clip were, "I gave it away, I donated it, it's gone." The fact is she didn't give much of it away at all, and that's one big reason that these people, the jury, didn't believe things she said in total. When you lie about something that big, what else are you lying about? Probably mostly everything else. Her dog probably did step on a bee. That was the one truth I think we got from this. And they put this here in purple. I guess it's important. Testimony from an attorney with the ACLU, Terrence Daugherty, revealed that Amber Heard, with help from Johnny Depp and Elon Musk, had donated $1.2 million of the $3.5 million that was pledged to charity, and no further installments had been received since 2019. So it wasn't even her money anyway. It was Johnny and Elon's money. An executive from Children's Hospital LA, Candy Davidson Goldbraun, testified that the $3.5 million donation pledged by Amber Heard to CHLA was unfulfilled. Since 2016, the hospital, she testified, had only received $250,000 of the total multi-million-dollar pledge. But they say clearly $1.2 million was donated by Elon and Johnny, so alright, either way, it's way off. Then she says this, which is not something you hear all the time from the regular news sources with the clickbaity headlines. She says that around 10% or less can't fulfill a donation. But when someone can't fulfill the donation, usually it's because of unsuspected sickness and medical bills, a family death, or something serious in their life that disrupts them from donating. But, around 90% intend to donate and do donate. So it's a nice little statistic you've never heard before from like Rolling Stone or Variety or the Daily Mail or something. It kind of keeps it real. So adding that extra factor that 90% pay it off unless something actually happens to them that makes it so they can't, it makes her story even more of a lie. And what they call that is donor attrition, just to give the actual phrase. And then here's why she blames the organization a little bit, and I'll have to admit it kind of makes sense. I'll assume she knows more than the average person watching here about donating to charities. Often lapsed donators are those who have been treated by the organization as an ATM machine without any real personal engagement, such as regular phone calls, in-person meetings over coffee or lunch, and invitations to engage directly with the organization outside of fundraising events. If your relationship with a donor is very shallow, such as impersonal mails, newsletters, and snail mail letters that remind them it's time to pay their pledged donation, then your donors may move on and support another organization they feel more engaged with, aligned, and properly thanked. Simply put, donors want to feel the love. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know exactly what they were doing as far as what she says with contacts, but it could be they were thinking, hey, it's Johnny Depp's wife or whatever, she'll pay it. So, it's a realistic point to bring up. But either way, that's not an excuse. All right? It could have been, they could have handled it better, but that's no excuse for someone on her level of fame at that time to say, hey, I'm not giving it to you, I'm keeping it. So, I mean, while this makes sense, in the end, it's not a way out for her. She goes on again in saying Amber Heard may be a heartless villain for not giving the money, but the organization should have contacted her and helped her fulfill the pledge more. Okay, I get it, but you're not going to change my mind. It's not an excuse. She explains more about the 10% who can't fulfill donations, but Amber had none of those roadblocks they had. Once again, financial difficulties, unforeseen circumstances, things like that. But Amber was pretty clear. She was just you know, doing talk shows and whatever. She then says the ACLU may have been duped by Amber in their excitement over the pledged 3.5 million. They acted on behalf of their donor when they pitched the idea of Amber Heard's op-ed in the Washington Post. She also mentions the clip from Savannah Guthrie, which kind of made Amber look even worse. She ends with this in bold letters. The reality is that less than 10% of donors will be an Amber Heard type who may use your charity to self promote with no intention of ever fulfilling their pledged gifts, all the while confusing the terms pledged and donated as synonymous with one another and ghosting the nonprofit when it's time for the next installment. All right, good article. Oh, wait, here's her final line. Simply put, Amber Heard's pledge donations never existed. In truth, Amber Heard's pledge donations were a brazen yet failed attempt to self promote. Yeah, okay. Anyway, right there, January 4th, 2024. Like I keep telling people, this is a historical case in history. It's not just going to kind of go away, it's here to stay. Amber will be an example of a famous person who was trying to self promote, like the article says, and didn't donate money. So in the future, it might not happen again when people are reminded of her. Almost like the boogeyman, that bump in the night at midnight or something, that scary thing down the dark road. She's kind of like a scary story now. Anyway, let me know what you think down below. Doing pop culture, entertainment. If you don't subscribe here, I'll be sad, but I'll get over it. See you next time.